And here we are, live on a Monday morning at 8:30. There we are. Very sunny winter's morning, which is always nice, isn't it? Crisp winter morning, frosty. But there we are. And ready to answer some questions on property finance, because that's what we do on a Monday morning. So if you're joining me live, welcome. If you're watching the replay, hi. Glad you're watching the replay. Thank you. And if you are watching the replay, actually just put hashtag replay there, so that just pop that in the chat box, so that when I look through comments, I can see that you've watched it. Help me know. A couple of people jumping on now saying good morning. Good morning. There we are. Good morning to you. So, if you haven't been on here before and tuned in on 8:30 on a Monday morning, because I'm here pretty much every Monday morning at 8:30, holidays and bank holidays notwithstanding, then what do? Well, drawing on my 20 plus years experience as a property finance broker, brokering everything from a simple buy-to-let right up to a multi-million pound development loan, I answer questions on property finance. So people jump on here and they say, hey, Kevin, can you tell me about this? And of course I do. And then they get some value. The people that are watching but didn't ask the question also get some value. And so it goes round. And it squares the circle nicely. So I'm here on a Monday morning, armed with my cup of tea, ready, willing, and able to answer questions. So, got a question? Bung it in the chat box. And then we'll get cracking. So, there we are. Richard's popped up with a good question. There we are, Richard, one of my top-level mentees, one of my Ninja Achiever mentees. Fantastic Winter Feast event over the weekend, full of positive, friendly people. One attendee said it was the best property networking event they'd attended in 15 years. Really? Wow. So if you're watching and you're thinking, what the hell is a winter feast? So twice a year, summer and winter, I run a networking event. And last Saturday, in fact, it was the winter version, the winter feast. In the summer, it's a summer barbecue. And it's a proper networking event in the truest sense of the word, which means that you get extended breaks to network. For example, a 2-hour lunch and an extended 45-minute break in the morning to network. Plus, you can network when you get there, and you can network after the meeting. So, I think the amount of talking people did on Saturday, their jaws must have ached by the end of the day. And some of them kept going into the evening into the bar. And gradually sort of people drifted off. But yeah, so a huge day of networking. We have some couple of good speakers that were sharing projects. Excuse me. Kathy Waddington was sharing her commercial to Resi project. Mike Woods was sharing his barn conversion project. And we also had Matt Edwards giving us an introduction to planning. So now there's one big difference, and this might be why that person said it was the best networking event they'd attended in 15 years, is because it's a proper networking event. In other words, it's 100% pitch-free zone. There was no one. Excuse me. Just get over a chest infection, so apologies for that. Now, a lot of networking events are actually sales events dressed up as a networking event, aren't they? I'm sure you've been to some like that. I certainly have. I've spoken at a lot of them actually. But my summer barbecue and my winter feast, proper networking events in the truest sense of the word. So there's nothing else going to be going on there other than some sharing of information by some speakers who are not, they're not anybody special. They're just investors, property investors that are doing deals. So there we are. So now, if you think, well, that sounds interesting, well, you've got a fair old wait to do another one. You can only do 2 a year. But stick this date. I'm going to put this in the chat box. Saturday, the 25th of June, 2022. Pop that in your diary and look out for posts and whatever and adverts that are publicising that, because it's going to be a brilliant event. It's probably going to be in the Birmingham area somewhere. And, we had sort of pushing 50 people on Saturday at the Winter Feast. I think it'll be higher than that. Maybe it'll be pushing 100 by the time we get down to next June. So there we are. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Richard. I had a fantastic time, and it's a great privilege for me to put on events like this, and people love them. And I know people love them because they tell me repeatedly throughout the day, this is the best networking event I've been to. So there we are. That's Winter Feast. So guys and girls, what do you want to know? What do you want to know about property finance? And while I wait for some questions, I'll just give you a link to my Recycle Your Cash Facebook group. You can and you can see there's a photo. I'm gonna actually load up some more photos. I had a photographer there on Saturday, so I'm going to load up some photographs this week in that group. So if you're a member, take a look in there, and if you're not a member, come and join. There it is. There's the link. It's in the chat box. So yeah, I'm going to give you some photographs. It's a really nice day, and you can see from the photographs the sort of stuff that was going on there. I guess the enjoyment that people were having. And hey, come along to the next one, please do. Okay, so questions. What questions you got? What questions have you got? Waiting for questions. Now, a Q&A does rather depend on the Q part, being honest, because I can't do many A's without the Q's. In fact, I can't do any A's without the Q. So what do you want to know? What is it you want to know about property finance that I can shed some light and some clarity on? Now, I tend to say I'm going to be here for probably about 30 minutes. So sometimes it drags on longer than that. Drag's probably not the right word, because that intimates that I'm less than happy doing it. And I'm actually really happy answering people's question. So, got a question? Fire it in there. Now, I've got something coming up this Saturday, actually, while we're waiting for a question, which is my property finance masterclass. So that's where I run through between 10 and 3 o'clock with regular breaks and a lunch break, exactly how you can build a portfolio with a single pot of cash by being much more disciplined about the properties that you end up buying, and only buying the ones that have got an outstanding chance of pulling most of your cash out. It'd be brilliant to pull all of your cash out, but it's probably unrealistic at the moment. So you will leave a bit of cash in there in most cases, and that's and that's generally as long as it's you can get the money out through positive cash flow in a year or probably two. That's generally not a bad thing. Property finance now. It's on this Saturday, 4th of December, 10 till 3. It's actually the last one I'm going to do of these for a while. So I've been doing them now since lockdown 1. So I'm gonna call a halt on these for a while. So this one's actually going to be the last one that I do for the foreseeable future. So if you're interested in turning up on Saturday, let me put the link in there. Yeah, it's $24.91, so you know it's not going to break the bank, is it? There we are. As a regular contributor, guerrilla investor. What sort of fees does your company charge to help clients? Help clients in what respect? So what do you mean on the brokerage? I mean, I often help clients for free. You know, give a lot of free advice, certainly on Facebook groups and posts and everything else. So I need a bit more detail, guerrilla investor, to answer that question. Hope I'm well. Yeah, well, I am well. Apart from this chest infection. All right, here you're coming back. Okay. Okay, on the brokerage, yeah. So minimum fee is £500. Maximum fee is 1% of the loan. Now, what differentiates the two? Complexity. So things like simple buy-to-let mortgage, £500. Things like a complex development loan, probably 1% of the loan. But you know, and anywhere in between. So yeah, so those are the minimums and maximums. Any more than that, I can't be specific until you show us the deal. But most mortgages we do at £500. So there we are. Thanks for that question. So here we are. Got a question from Facebook user. If you watched this before, and you'll know that Facebook user means it's some sort of security feature that Facebook use, that if you're commenting outside of Facebook, which this is, I'm running this through a facility called StreamYard, which goes out to multiple platforms simultaneously. They ask you for permission to publish your name, and if you don't give that, it just comes up as a Facebook user, and then I drill down later in the day and see exactly who it was. So here we are. Morning. If I remortgage my residential property and pull out further money on the house, are mortgage rates higher at higher loan to values? Yep, they are. Yep, certainly they are. It's currently it's Zolt. There we are. Okay, so I can see Zolt. Yeah, you came to one of my buy refinance summit days early in the year. Well, you did if it's the same Zolt, which I guess it is. It's quite a distinctive name. Yeah, you're not at the best rate. The best rates are normally at 60% and below. But when you go above sort of 75 and then 85 and 90, you're absolutely going to pay higher rates. Yeah, absolutely. Now, if it's a further advance, so are you remortgaging your property or are you taking a further advance? Because the two are very different things. So remortgage is where you're effectively dumping your current lender and setting up a whole new mortgage. And with that would probably come, or certainly come arrangement fees, but solicitors fees and valuation fees too. If you're just getting a further advance, that means you're sticking with your same lender and just asking them to borrow more money, which shouldn't come with those fees that I just mentioned. Whichever. If you need any help on that, Zolt, then one of the brokers in our brokerage, David, he's our main resident specialist. So we'd be happy to have a look at that for you if that helps you. There we are. Good. Your investors come back. That's quite reasonable given your experience. Okay, thank you. There we are. Glad you think so. Now, here we go. I've got a few questions rolling in now, and that's good because that's the reason why I jump on here at 8:30 to 9 on a Monday morning, or maybe a bit longer than 9, is to give you some answers to stuff that's bugging you about property finance. So here we are. Okay, Facebook user. Thanks, Kevin. How for an amazing day at the Winter Feast. So I'll dig in and see who that is later. But glad you came. Glad you enjoyed it. To be honest, I spoke to pretty much everyone that was there, and I didn't get a single person saying, "Oh, this is a bit rubbish." So you know, it is a tremendous format. You met so many great people. Good. I'm glad you did. That was the point. That's the point of a networking event, is that you meet people and you chat with them. Good. You have a question. How does the refinance work on portfolio lending? If you was getting 30 to 40% below market value. Okay. So I won't know until you've done until I go and find your name, whether you've done my advanced level training, the Ninja Investor program. But if you have, you'd know exactly what portfolio lending is, and using a market value bridge to lend on the true current value of the portfolio, even if you're buying it cheaper. If you can buy it 30, 40% below its true current value, that's an exceptional deal. So the refinance works. So if you're going to refinance it, then, and if you're buying a portfolio that's fully refurbed, fully tenanted, and you do nothing to it, the refurb is going to, the refinance is going to work on the basis that you'll get it refinanced at what you paid for it, not at the market value. So if you want to pull your cash back out, that's not really going to work. So the best portfolios to buy are the ones where you've got a disinterested, disengaged landlord that probably hasn't kept up with the refurb, so the properties have got tattier and tattier over recent years, and often they just can't be bothered to rent a property out, re-rent a property out when a tenant leaves. So you've got some vacant properties in the portfolio, and they're all in pretty shabby condition now. That's a different matter, because now you can refurb them, and the refurb is classed as making tangible improvements to the property in terms of what commercial mortgage lenders' valuers will look for. So if you did that, then when you refinance it, you could refinance it at its or near its true current value post refurb. Now, that should get you a huge chunk of your cash back out. If you're really lucky, it might get you all your cash back out. So that's how that works. If you now, is this a generic question, or have you got a potential portfolio that you can pick up? If you have, let's drill down and we'll broker this for you and use market value bridging. So once we've finished here later today, I'll dig into the comments and I'll find out a bit more about it, and we'll get in touch. Or you can get in touch with me. Let's give you the easiest way to get in touch with me. This is my Facebook page, Kevin Wright, Property Finance Expert. There we are. So that's another way to get in touch with me for yourself or anyone else that's looking at that. Kevin Wright, Property Finance. I pick up those messages multiple times a day, pretty much, unless I'm actually running an event like I was on Saturday or something, or one of my other training events. So there we are. If you got portfolio on the go that you could get, let's work together. Let's broker it. Okay, Gorilla's very active this morning, aren't you? Good, thank you. Appreciate your questions. When assessing the potentially uplifted value of a property before works, is it possible to get a surveyor's opinion? I've spoken to 2 in my area and they want to charge the full rate. Well, is it possible? Yes, it is. It is possible. And I know it's possible because a number of my students do it. But, and here's the but, they've already established a relationship with that value or surveyor first. So expecting freebies off surveyors when they're professional people, is a bit of a tall ask. Now, and they don't want to waste their time with people that just want to pump them for information and never spend any money with them. So you might want you might have to kickstart that arrangement by paying them. But once they know, and also explain to them that you'll probably be using their services repeatedly. Now, once some money's changed hands, now you're a paying customer, you'll probably get more out of them. And you absolutely should be working with a RICS valuer to keep you on the straight and narrow on all these sort of things. So, it's a relationship that's well worth cultivating, but don't expect it on freebies. Really, yeah. You've got to acknowledge their professionalism and their experience, and give them now if you want a future value, you want a done up value, a property you've not yet done up, you'll also need to give them a comprehensive work schedule, so they can see what you're going to do and to what standard you're going to do it to. So they're not a huge amount of money. I wouldn't think £200-300. So for something that could save you making a mistake that costs you in the thousands, worthwhile investment. I think so. There we are. Good question. So you followed up with what's your experience in that? Well, what I've just told you. Don't expect it for free from the off. Zolt's back again. What are the current interest rates of residential mortgage roughly for below 60 and around 90? To be honest, Zolt, can't answer that. I mean, I haven't done residential mortgages for years. But listen, if you want us to help, then all you need to do is fill out a fact find that we can email to you, and then that'll come back to David, our specialist main res broker, and he'll give you all that information. So let's hook up and ping us your email address. You can ping it into the Facebook page that I gave you, or you can PM me. I think we're friends, and we'll get that sent out to you. And then you'll get it straight from the horse's mouth, as they say. Good. Okay, so we're coming up to 9 o'clock. Got a question before I hop off. Got a busy day today, as no doubt you have. So what do you want to know? What do you want to know about property finance? Got a few minutes to get a question in if you want to know. So far away. So we talked about some of my stuff this week. I'm pretty much at the end of events now for 2 or 3 months. I don't run events all the year round. I did my last training event, which was the 4-day Ninja Investor Program weekend before last in Birmingham. And the next one of those is not going to be until March, when I'm at the back end of March, when I'm down in Bristol. So I only do 6 of those a year now. So it's and I won't be going out and doing any other event until early February. I've just got 1 more commitment 2 more actually. One's a in-person meeting. I think that's first Tuesday in December. That's with my current gold standard Ninja Achievers group, mentorship group, small group of people. So we meet up monthly. Going to meet in London with them, and a Zoom call on my other mentoring group, Ninja Aspirers, and we've got a Zoom call the Monday after that, and then I'm done. No more events until early February, and that's just the way I like it, actually. And I like that midwinter break, and also like a midsummer break as well, because I don't do anything in July and August, pretty much. So. Facebook user says, just want to say good to see you again after a while. Okay, was that on Saturday? Did you come to the event on Saturday? I'll check through later and pick up your name. And if that's what you meant, then I'm sure we talked, because I talked to pretty much everyone there during the day. Good to see you too. Here we go. Jaco with a question. Good morning. How long is a commercial mortgage compared to a Resi? My tenant is taking up a 10-year lease. Well, a commercial mortgage can be, any length that the lender wants to give you. They're typically not as long as 25 years, but 10, 15, 20-year mortgage. If you've got a 10-year lease, you should certainly get a 10-year mortgage or even longer. So, residential mortgages tend to be more standard at 20 or 25 years. Commercial mortgages are shorter. Now, another factor is, do you want it to be interest only or repayment? Now, almost all buy-to-let mortgages are interest only, but commercial lenders are not anywhere near as keen on interest only as buy-to-let lenders are. So if you've got a commercial mortgage on interest only, smaller choice of lenders, and they'll probably do shorter terms. So they'll extend the term if it's on a repayment basis. Now, if you need a commercial mortgage, Jaco, love to help you. We broker those. So you're coming through on Facebook. So let's connect up. And if you want us to help you in that, ping you out a fact find, and be very happy to broker that. And then we'll show you exactly what we can get. There's a lot of factors involved in commercial mortgages. So, the length of the lease, is there a break clause in that 10-year lease where the tenant can cut out? Is there, and who is the tenant? What sort of business are they? How established are they? Is it a one shop or branch operation, or are they part of a chain? So there's a whole load of things goes on in there. But very happy to help you. Harpreet's coming. There we are. There's someone was. He's one of my advanced level students. Harpreet. It was great to see you. I am well. Apart from that, the back end of this chest infection, I'm pretty good actually. Pretty good. And thanks for Saturday. Yeah, it was really good to see you. Harpreet actually missed the summer barbecue because he got COVID about 3 days before. And he was really gutted over that. So I don't think you went out for about the last 2 weeks, did you? To make sure you didn't come into contact with anyone and negate the possibility of someone else giving you COVID again. So I'm glad you made it. It was really good to catch up again. David Lee. Good to see you, David, and thanks for your question. What redress do you have if the seller pulls out with a deposit related because the lender has not paid up after completion or days later due to delays from a bridging lender? So, not quite sure of your question, so you might want to rephrase that. So let's take it in a couple of ways and see if I just sort of hit the mark, but I'm going to sort of aim on this. So under English and Welsh property law, any offer is not binding until you've exchanged contracts. So if you didn't get as far as exchanging contracts, then you don't have any redress. Simple as. You could have pulled out and the seller's stuffed, or the seller pulls out and you're stuffed. That's the law. If you've exchanged contracts, it's a different matter, because within each contract there is a forfeiture clause, which applies equally to both seller and buyer. And that forfeiture clause is a legal minimum of 10% of the purchase price. So if the seller pulls out after exchange, they have to pay you as a minimum 10% of the purchase price. So regardless of why they pull out. So the reason for pulling out, either on buyer or seller side after exchange, is irrelevant. When you exchange contracts, you're committed to complete. Now, the next bit is a bit woollier because the lender is not paid up after completion. We can't complete without the money being there. So you complete when the seller gets their money. If they don't get their money, you can't complete. You may have had some delays from a bridging lender, but yeah. So yeah, need a bit more info to give you more information on that, more accurately answer your question. But you come up with a follow-up thing here. Also, how do you deal with an unregulated tenure at auction? I.e., if you cannot tell if it's freehold or leasehold. Easy, don't buy it. Why would you buy something at auction that you haven't got clarity on what you're buying? So unless you can get clarity, particularly at auction, because you've got no time. If it's a traditional auction, then you've bought it. You've exchanged contracts on fall of gavel. So there we are. So unregulated tenure. Yeah. So I wouldn't be buying anything at auction if I didn't know what I was buying. So you need clarity. Right. Okay. So you come back. Okay. So let me now assume what I think's gone on here. So you've bought a property at auction and you exchange contracts and put your 10% down. Now, auctions are different to estate agents. The terms of business are radically different. Now, you get, in most cases, 28 days to complete. Now, if you don't complete in that time frame, you have failed to perform under the terms of the contract. Most sellers would give you a bit of grace, and that grace is called a notice to complete. Now, that usually gives you 10 days or sometimes 10 working days extra on top of the 28 to complete. And if you don't complete then you've effectively broken the contract. And breaking that contract gives the seller the right to pull out and keep your money. And one more thing. If they put it back into auction and it sells for less than you agreed to pay, then they can now sue you for the shortfall. So they keep your 10% deposit, and the contract that you signed when you had the winning bid at auction and exchange contracts allowed them to keep your 10% deposit if you didn't complete in 28 days. But also, again, if it sells at £10,000 or £20,000 less subsequently in a different auction, then they can also come after you for that money too, because you shouldn't bid on properties that you can't complete on in auction. Those are the rules. Harsh, but who said auctions were, a play garden? They're not. They're bear pits. So, if you want to connect up with me, David, you're coming through YouTube, so you can just go back to the home page on YouTube, click on the About tab along the top, and then contact me and see if I can offer you any guidance or assistance. Or come through Facebook in the link that I gave earlier. There we are. So it looks like you've had a bit of a rough ride there, and I'm sorry to read that. But if I can help you, I will do. Gorilla's back with another one. You're keeping this going yourself this morning, you Gorilla. If a house has multiple reception rooms, can you legally how can you classify one of them as a bedroom? Yeah, so you got a three-story house. Well, it's got to be altered to it's got to be altered to a bedroom. So it's got to look like a bedroom. You don't have to. There's no legal about it. Excuse me. There's no legal about it. You don't have to get planning permission to turn a reception room into a bedroom. But I mean, but it's got to be altered so that it's a bedroom. So, you know, for example, if it's a lounge and it's clearly a lounge and it was built to be a lounge, and you just take lounge furniture out and shove a bed and a wardrobe and a, I don't know, computer desk or something in there, is that going to class it as a bedroom? No, not really. Because the next person that buys it off you will probably take that bedroom furniture out and shove lounge furniture back in there. So it's still a lounge. So the alterations have got to be, you know, not so much irreversible, but it's got to be something structurally done to the room. So, for example, you know, if you moved the bathroom to a different room, or you put a couple of en suites if the rooms are big enough, and what was the family bathroom you turned into a bedroom, well, clearly that is a bedroom. But of course, that's not reception rooms. So reception rooms, unless you make significant alterations, are never going to be counted. So if it's a 3-bedroom one with 3 bedrooms upstairs, 2 reception rooms downstairs, and you say, I'm going to make the lounge and make it a 4-bedroom house, no. That's never going to get valued as a 4-bedroom house because it's a 3-bedroom one with 2 reception rooms. Yeah, that sort of thing. So if you're sticking an ensuite in there, yeah, I mean, it's not irreversible, but it costs money to reverse. But that's now you're on the right tracks. Good. Okay, so there we are. It's 9:10 now. Hope you've got some use out of today. Whether you're watching it, whether you're watching it live or you're watching the replay. And hey, watching the replay, stick a hashtag replay in there so I know you've watched it. That always helps. So if there's no more questions, I'm going to skedaddle and crack on with my day. Thanks for that. And so really your last chance to get a question in. But I will be back next week. And I'll be back at 8:30 on a Monday morning. And I'll be answering questions on property finance, pretty much like I've done this morning, because that's what we do. And I've got to say, I quite enjoy these Monday mornings. Not too onerous, is it? Once a week. So there we are. If any people that were at the Winter Feast on Saturday that are watching this live or in the replay, fantastic day. Love meeting you. And I'm glad you had a brilliant time. As one person said, the best event in 15 years. Well, that's quite a statement, isn't it? So come to the next one. Whoever said that, come to the next one. But it will only be the best you've been to in 6 months, not 15 years. I think the bedroom will also need a window. Fair point. Yep, I'll go along with that. Yeah. Bathrooms don't need a window. Kitchens don't necessarily need a window, but a bedroom pretty much does. But hey, I'm not a planner. You know, I'm a finance guy. I'm not a planner. So, what do I know? Okay. Have a great week. I certainly intend to, and I'll do it all again next Monday. Cheerio for now.